Welcome to Costly Conversations. I'm super excited because we have Tarikh with us today. You know, he was on Surviving Mann. He's a chapter president of the Nuisance Firearms Gun Club in Colorado. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Man, I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I'm
Thank you
excited
for
to talk
having
to
me.
you. Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Yes, sir. So, man, let's talk a little bit about Surviving Mann. Like, what is that? Because I know when we first met, we talked. You said like, hey, one of the things that I'm known for is I was on this show called Surviving Mann. Talk about that.
So basically, it was a TV show that was like 32, I guess, Americans, like ex-military people, some people who never been in the military, and we went to a range in Vegas, and we basically was just like smoked, like basically like you ever did PT, like were you in the military?
No, I was not.
Okay, so basically they try to like basic training us and just had us doing all type of stuff from climbing, from rappelling, shooting 50 cows. It was a blessing, man. It was definitely a lot because I'm a broken veteran, but it was a good experience for sure.
Okay, so you did serve. What branch were you in?
I was in the Army, bro.
Army. And by how long
Yeah,
did you stay in? I know you said you got hurt.
yeah, just a little short of 4 years. I did one term. It brought me out to Colorado, and we ended up staying. I'm from Cali, so it's a
Cali
little
boy in
different.
Colorado. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I know they have a few mountains in California, but this is probably still a little new.
Yeah, definitely. It's just peaceful, man. I mean, I have a lot of kids, a wife, so it's like I'm not at that point where I'm trying to be out doing all this crazy stuff. I'm just chilling.
No, I get that. No, that's dope. But well, let's talk a little bit more about Surviving Mann. So obviously they brought you in because you're a veteran, and they probably want to add a little bit of diversity to the show.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna accuse them of anything. I think it's a good thing to have. Good
The
background and diversity is all right.
the producer lady was a sister, so they definitely had at least one person who looked. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. I'm mostly around people who don't look like me all day at my job because I'm a firearms instructor and then I'm a range officer. So I'm on the range all day, like that's my 9 to 5. So
So you
yeah,
said you're an RSO in Colorado.
yes, sir. I work at a range called Magnum South.
Okay.
Um, two locations out here in Colorado Springs. But yeah, I've been working there since we opened up in 2020, Black Friday. That was the first day we opened up. That was my first day at work. So
So that's a brand new range. Now, is it like state of the art, or is it a
that's
little
pretty
bit?
nice, man. It's an indoor range. We got four different bays, 7 lanes in each of them. Two of them are 15 meters, and then two are 25.
Nice. That's not so bad. That's not so
Yeah,
bad.
nah, it's pretty chill, man.
Now, one thing that I've been seeing, if we don't mind talking about the range a little bit, is some indoor ranges will kind of like set up different indoor events. Can you guys do that with the size of your range?
Yeah, we can. We actually have one that's dedicated for like front of the line stuff. So basically, if you're ever trying to do like competition stuff or ever like AR move and shoot type stuff, we have one range that's just dedicated to that where we can like shoot into the walls, all type of stuff. It's crazy, man.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually really sweet because, my biggest concern is like a lot of gun ranges, the walls, the side walls are just kind of not designed to be shot necessarily. And
Yeah.
the back wall, whatever it is, the lead wall, as they would call it, is, but it's like, well, what happens if you make a mistake?
I
So,
mean, I've seen it. A couple weeks ago, kid up in there with like a AK, like a short barrel AK or something, and it was just like 1 in a million shot. He literally shot it through a hole and like like blew up a power thing in the back. Or it was crazy. Like the whole lights went out, and yeah, it was a definitely experience.
golly, it's that kind of stuff that gives people when they see an AK a little bit of hesitation. They're like, oh man, what's this man
Well,
about
it's
to
like
do?
to control it. Like I'm pretty sure he was just probably like hip firing, and we don't really allow that type of stuff. We want everybody to be under control, but people be wilding out. People with guns they're a trip, man.
Yeah, man. And we'll talk a little bit about kind of like your range experience a little bit more in a second because I do have some serious questions about like range etiquette, since you brought that up. But let's talk a little bit about the Surviving Man again. I know we just kind of hopped off of that real quick, but Surviving Man, like, what did you guys end up doing, and was it a pleasant experience, or do you have any
It was
regrets?
definitely no regrets.
Good.
It was definitely an interesting experience because it opened up my eyes to seeing that this industry has like influencers and like people who basically get paid to do stuff. I didn't get paid, I paid my way, but I watched other people, so it kind of opened my eyes to that. And then when I was invited to that Big Daddy epic shoot, I was like, oh man, like Jerry Michalik, people like you, or like it was so many people. Bear Tactical, it was like it was overwhelming, bro. And it was just like, okay, this is what I want to do. And yeah, so it was definitely a lot. If you get a chance, watch the show. It's on the website and then it's on YouTube and stuff. You can see me out there with my tall ass, but it was worth it, bro. It was definitely worth it. Like some of the people who I connected with, we kind of became friends. Like we have like a group. Like we had like a mini reunion at the Epic Shot, so it was dope to see some of them.
That's awesome, dude. Because for real, like, Epic Shoot for me was a dope experience. But that, for those who don't know, was my second like industry event, quote unquote. Getting invited out somewhere, them kind of saying, "Hey, shoot this gun, take these pictures, do this," and
Fly this helicopter.
right, fly. It's interesting because there's some responsibility that comes with that and some expectation. However, really, it's on you to create content or represent yourself in the best way you can.
Real talk, man. And then just being there showed me that content is king. Like the whole experience was just about creating content. Like especially watching like Miss Shiro and Pewologist and
Those are
like
my
I've seen
people.
yeah, they're dope as hell. But yeah, they were walking around in Yeezys, and I was wearing my Yeezys, so I was like, oh man, they're hype beasts too. So, and I'm a retired hype beast, but like my YouTube channel is called Hype Beast Dad, so I love that type of stuff. So to see my people out there representing, like it was dope, man. It was inspiring as hell.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you got a chance to kind of be out there, and of course, I'm always excited when I see more people, especially people from my community, the Black community, get excited to kind of get involved in a space that traditionally, or at least in the past, hasn't really been recognized for having a ton of diversity and really like champion and like Black gun ownership and things like that. So I'm excited to hear that you're kind of getting more into it, and of course, I'm trying to see you at the next event, bro. Like, come on, man, let's
Yeah,
link
yeah, yeah,
up.
definitely, bro. I'm pulling up to Shot Show. I don't know if you're going to that, but
Bro, I
it's fun.
actually I got a baby coming next month. I'm gonna miss Shot Show this year, but next year.
Understood. Yeah, this is my first one. I tried other times before, but I didn't have the juice. This time, a company kind of looked out for me, and it was like, "Man, just come with us." And so I'm learning some stuff, man. I'm still new to it. The whole reason I got into like being an instructor was literally I would go into gun ranges and I'll speak to people, and they would say like they felt uncomfortable. They would be like,
Mm,
"Man, I just don't feel comfortable. They don't want to talk to me and all this." And I never really dealt with that because, to be honest, like before the military, I didn't mess with guns. It was like when I
hmm
got in the army, I started understanding it, and then when I was active duty, like seeing the people who I served with, they would buy their kids, like 4-year-old kids, guns and rifles and stuff.
hmm
It was just like blowing my mind. But then I would see that these fools had armories. I was like, man, I need to start, starting my collection. So
Yeah, man. I mean, it is really cool to see, but obviously, when you really think about it, it's like, dang, how many folks who aren't the typical gun owner would even dream of owning more than one firearm? Like,
that's
for real.
true.
And so, I mean, I have no problem with people, really kitting themselves out and having the best of the best, suppressors and night vision and thermals and whatever it is that they want to have. I think that's dope. I think everybody should have whatever they want to have.
Yeah.
But I do want to see more people who aren't really traditionally from that background kind of feel comfortable getting into it. And that's why I'm excited to hear that you're also instructing and whatnot. And it sucks because what you said is true and people don't really get it because maybe they're not empathetic or they're not from that background. But like, a lot of people tell me, I see this all the time. Hey, you know, I walked into this gun range and they looked at me funny, or they didn't really talk to me. They didn't go out of their way to make me feel comfortable. And so
And
I
I feel
believe,
that was the reason my range hired me because definitely at my interview I already was certified because I had been doing nuisance firearms before I
hmm
worked there. And most of the people who they have like as ROs, they basically get certified after they start working there. So I already had my stuff. I just walked in, and I basically was like, "You guys need me. You need tall people here," and yeah, and that's how we finessed it.
he
But
said, y'all need tall people. He said, no, no,
yeah,
no. We
yeah,
need tall people here.
we definitely need some tall people up in here. I mean, they knew what I was saying. It's just it's definitely another brother that worked with me. He don't work full time, but
hmm
he's an instructor. Definitely shout out to the homie Marlon, good brother.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's good and that's exciting. But let's talk a little bit more about, I guess, the range and
Okay.
what does range etiquette really look like? Like, what are you looking for, especially speaking to the new gun owner, the unconventional gun owner, the black gun owner, people who are, oh, I bought a gun over Christmas. You know, I finally afforded this, and now I'm showing up to your range. What do you expect out of me?
Just definitely understand the range rules. Treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Like that. Literally, I've seen old guys turn around and point guns like not really at me, but like towards my direction, and they don't do it on purpose. They just like kind of goobers with it. But yeah, just take it serious. And then for our people, it's just stop being so scary. Like a lot of times, we kind of are programmed to be like very scary, especially around firearms and just around stuff like that. So it's like, don't be so scary. Like get past that.
Yeah, yeah. That being intimidated when you walk into a new place, especially handling a tool like a firearm. I mean, that thing can really end a lot of people's day. So you gotta have a little bit of confidence. But of course, I think what gives you confidence is knowledge and understanding.
And that's the type of person I am. Like last year, I went to Iron Sharpen Iron, and
Oh,
just
you
to
went to
be around.
ISI.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that opened up a lot of doors, like just building with all the instructors, and then literally like it showed me like okay, I could probably start going and teaching at different places and like become like Phil Craft or like these big YouTubers or these big instructors who like get paid $500 for a class. So I was like, okay, my mind started running, and then it also showed me like the need for us to train and to be proficient, even as instructors. Like we're not perfect. Like I learn all the time. I try to take as many classes as possible. You know.
Absolutely. And I think, well, first of all, ISI, a lot of the people that I really trust in this world, in the firearms world, in the industry, they're from ISI, such as
Yup.
Tig, Devin. I know Trey went this last
Devin,
year.
bro.
Just all these amazing people, amazing individuals, great trainers, instructors, students of the game. They're all there, and I know that they've transformed it into a thing called Phase Two, and I'm excited to see all the good that'll come from that. So shout out to them. But
Tig,
definitely, what was that?
was there. Tig was saying basically that was like her last one. I hope
Yeah,
it's not. If it is, I was just like honored to even be there. Like, cause I'm like, man, I've been doing this mess for a minute. Like, I remember even like going to 2020. I went to Atlanta and I trained with some NAAGA people, and I met um the the president of NAAGA, the vice president, all these people, and it was dope, man, because it's like seeing my people represent, but also seeing us do training on a high level. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that.
yeah, man. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I know you talked a little bit about representation and being that representation, and that's a big theme of this show. But
Okay.
like real talk, a lot of people will hear the term representation and they'll start to cringe a little bit, especially guys in the gun world, and they'll be like, "Oh, why is that important? Shouldn't you just go with the most qualified guy in the room?" All that stuff. And in essence, some of that I think some of that is true. Shouldn't you just go with the most qualified guy in there? Why is this representation thing important for you? Like, why do you
I don't
actually
know. I
care?
think it's the media, bro. Because I know 2020, we got interviewed by New York Times, and they had us in their basically a gun segment, and they had a video and everything, and how they edited it was kind of crazy, but just like, yeah, I don't know, bro.
So you feel like, you know, media likes to continue to misrepresent black gun owners?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff that's going on, but I don't know. It just seems like we keep going backwards, and it's like the respect. We kind of forget that we've been, gun owners for forever. It's just literally we kind of got finessed, and I
Mm-hmm.
think we got finessed about a lot of things in history, but definitely our history of being self sufficient, and back in the day, like one thing white people would say is like if you had a gun, you were free. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's well,
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot of truth to that, and I think we really do need to kind of figure out where it went wrong and recognize that, and remember that every time we start to get those little thoughts in our heads, like, oh man, I don't belong here, I don't. Well, think about it. We were here before, and somehow we let it slip out of our hands. We gave it back. Why would you give away your rights?
stop doing that because a lot of times we involve so many people. I'm gonna just talk about hip hop, like hip hop production. Let's just think about that. Like
Mm-hmm.
we involved everybody, we bring everybody in, and then we start getting stonewalled or people who look like us. But to be honest, we was the originators of this stuff. So how we not gonna have a seat at the table when we brought the table here?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all just be doing. And it happens in a lot of little industries, but yeah, I definitely watch that in hip hop and just like the little beat stuff because I do a lot of beats.
Yeah, definitely, and it's really interesting to see. I was just thinking about when you said like being, representation and things like that. I was like, man, if you look up on YouTube, black gun owner, you'll probably see somebody from the NFAC instead of some of the more prominent black YouTubers, or even say like a CNN interview with, a regular black gun owner. Like, what is going on?
Um, like even 2020, I noticed, like especially with us being, interviewed and stuff. I was like, man, they're creating a narrative right now. They're basically saying most of the new gun owners are black people or women, and yeah, maybe that's true, but I don't know. We
Eh,
definitely got stake our claim.
Yeah.
We have more training centers. One thing, my wife sent me some notes, but one thing she's saying to tell you is that we need more ranges. I know they got like a black range in California, and there's a couple of them throughout the America, but we need more ranges. We need ranges that's our range. And I mean, it's not even like a black white thing, but just so we can control that space because it's an interesting feeling, going to different ranges where you don't feel comfortable. I just kind of make myself comfortable wherever I go, but I've definitely felt the tension before at different
Yeah,
places.
that's actually really important. And some people might try to paint it as like, oh, are you racist? But for
Yeah,
wanting something, it's like, well, no, not necessarily. But for those who don't understand the history of gun ownership in the black community, it is vital to have spaces and ranges where education is key, so that when people go to your range, they can kind of have an idea of what they're doing. They can already have some knowledge, and they can go in and represent themselves well. Like that's that's a big part of it. But I think your wife, shout out to her, the vice president of your gun club. I think she's absolutely right. We need more infrastructure. A lot of us want to be instructors, but nobody wants to kind of own the industry, if you know what I mean. Instructor is
yeah,
basically the first level.
it is. And as instructors, like the whole ISI thing, iron sharpen iron, we got to keep at each other and keep working with each other to grow it. Like I remember watching people like Body by O, and then like Tactical Carl and all of those guys, and like really make a lane for themselves, and like not just be instructors but like being voices in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. So it was like that was super inspiring for me, and I'm just trying to figure out my own thing. Like I remember at Epic Shot, somebody thought I was what's that boy name, Maj Toure or something.
Someone's, oh, you're a mod.
Yeah. He was like, "Hey, are
No,
you Toure?" And I was like, "I don't think Maj Toure's this tall, man."
no, he's
But
not.
but yeah, I'm not Maj Toure, but I'm definitely trying to get on that level. I would love to go on media and talk about firearms and just represent for us because yeah, we got to stop being so scary, man. And then
Yeah.
when you buy a gun, don't just buy 50 rounds of ammo. Go buy a couple boxes, guys. Because
No, but seriously, like if you can get that 1,000 rounds, however much it costs, try to find a good deal. Please do your homework because I've been seeing a lot of people be like, "Man, I paid $500 for this." I'm like, "Well, you can. There's a better deal. There is a better deal, but get a lot and make sure you
that's
train."
part of working. Like if I didn't have ammo discounts and gun discounts at my job, probably wouldn't work there. But that's one of the best parts, man.
Definitely, definitely. But I would say also, as a new black gun owner, or even just a new gun owner, period. This goes for everybody. Get involved with groups of people, like a gun club, like what you have going on, and meet up with people who know what they're talking about. One session with an instructor is great, but definitely getting in community with other people who understand what it is to be a safe and responsible gun owner, that's huge. Like we don't have
That's
time
what
for you
I
to
deal
do
with
anything
at
else.
my job being an instructor because like just 2 days ago I did a concealed handgun class and there's like an old guy I gotta say mature but a mature guy like 80, 70 or some high
Yeah,
70s.
definitely older gentlemen.
Like you could tell he's I don't know what they scared about but yeah, you could tell they even older they still continue to work on their skills. They still come shoot or try to learn. So we gotta start doing that too, and get our older people out. Get all the generations. I feel like we have a block sometimes. Like older people don't want to talk to young people, so like
Hmm.
we gotta pass that.
Yeah, no, I've actually been seeing that a little bit, and that's a conversation I want to have for another day. The difference between the older generation of instructors and the newer generation, but I definitely think that we gotta do better in that regard. But do you feel like just kind of as how long have you been instructing first of all?
I would say probably the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so you're
I
not
just
brand
started
new
it
to it, but you
on
did
my
get started.
yeah yeah yeah. Last I've been going really hard these last 2 3 years, but yeah. Probably since 2019, I started really heavy, and then I was already like trying to do it before, but it took time, to take my classes, NRA classes,
Hmm.
USCC class, all those other stuff.
So technically, you're in that newer generation of gun firearms instructors, rather. But I've seen a little bit of tension between some of the older heads, like, oh, I've been training since the '90s, and some of the new kids who, oh, I've been instructing since 2015 and up. Have you experienced any of that? And like, what are your thoughts in regards to those
I
things?
mean, sometimes because you definitely meet people who've been doing it a lot longer,
Hmm.
but I mean, we can learn from everybody. Like I learn something new every day. Like especially about firearms. Like I know nothing, bro.
Hmm.
Like I never shot a 50 cal until last year when I was on
Hmm.
Surviving Man. So like I always learn something new. So all the OGs, like if you guys want to reach out, like I'm trying to learn. Like I'm trying to soak up all that knowledge. I'm just trying to figure out the cheat codes, because I feel like there's definitely some people that's navigating through this and they're like making it look easy. So I'm definitely trying to figure that out.
Yeah, definitely. And for those people making it look easy, it's just that's hard work and dedication. I promise you. Sometimes people get lucky and they just wake up on the right side of the bed, but you can't do that 2 days in a row. Come on.
I feel that.
So let's talk a little bit about. I remember you were talking about kind of like the hip hop industry and how the it seemed like the people who originated it got kind of pushed out. Not to say we originated firearms, but I am kind of wondering like if you have any ideas on, okay, like we are here, we're kind of getting back into firearms as like the black community. Like, what do we need to do to, I guess, establish ourselves and own a piece of the industry, a piece of the infrastructure,
We need like we were talking about the ranges, but we
ranges?
also need more like not just the gun clubs, but we need more businesses. We need more people who manufacture firearms. We need more people who do the ammo. I know a couple brothers that do ammo. We just need more people in just different spaces, and we need to support them. I mean, not to say that we go out, don't support nobody else. Support our people.
Yeah,
And
definitely. And I think it's super important to support like bona fide quality, you know, uh, black businesses, and I try to get away from the idea of just supporting a business because it's a black business, because not everybody's really trying, and I think you should reward people who are trying. But I would say, if you notice that somebody is in this space that doesn't look like they necessarily quote unquote belong here, give them a second look, see if they're offering something good, and
I also feel like we gotta get past like kind of feeling like we're lesser than three fifths or whatever nonsense. Like we literally got to be just like recognize that we're Americans. Like this is our land. Some of us have been here even before slavery. So we got to stop with this whole narrative that like we're detached from America. Like this is still our stuff. So we got to. I feel like Americans or quote unquote Americans, they love guns. So of course we're gonna love guns. Freedom, but I never was really into guns, man. I'm from South Central, bro. Like, people who had guns were like gangbangers or, or like, the police. So,
when was the first time you saw a gun?
when I was like 14, I was riding a bike with my homie Brian. We're riding bikes to a comic book shop because I'm a big comic book nerd. I draw and stuff. And we're riding bikes, and a guy like, "Hey, man, come over here," and he pulls us over, and he like pulls out a gun out of his waistband and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take one of you guys' bikes." And he took my homie bike, and then we ended up walking back. Like I walked my bike, and then I
Wow.
think that week my bike got stolen too from my backyard. So yeah, so yeah, South Central. But yeah, that was the first time I
Wow.
remember. And then I remember like going to like places like Tommy the Clown Factory. That was you ever remember like dancing like the clown movement and stuff back in the day?
Not really.
Okay, so back in LA, I would say like early 2000s, they used to have clown dancers, and it was like a clown, and he was super famous, dude. He would go to all the hood parties and stuff. He had a factory or like a location, and I remember it got shot into, and like we're running to the back, like and like pushing people out the way and stuff, and it's like me and my cousins, and I just remember that experience. I'm like, man, this shit is crazy. Like,
Oh, that's
so
insane.
yeah, I'm not the hoodest guy, bro. I'm gonna just be honest. Like I definitely from South Central. I'm from I guess the hood, but that's just not what the energy I ever really wanted to radiate on.
No, but that's all right. I feel like sometimes people glorified hood energy, which I think it's there's a cool factor to it, but at the end of the day, like you have to be yourself, genuinely you. And if you love comic books, if you like to draw, if you like to be artistic, that's cool. There's some people who are very hood and also very artistic. That's cool. Like if you are, a New Yorker, that's cool too. I
Exactly.
mean, like whatever, dude. Like be yourself, and I think that's all right. Just don't be Florida man. I'm talking about
Right.
my Florida people.
Hey man, I lived in Florida as a kid,
I'm gonna
so
get some DMs.
they definitely gonna hit you up all of the Florida.
Right, Scout's gonna hit me up and be like, "Yo, you talking about me, bro?" I am. Shout out to my homie Scout. He had an awesome interview.
Yeah.
Army vet as well, Army Scout. Um, so let's talk a little bit about kind of running a gun club. I know you said you're a gun club chapter president as a part of NAAGA. Can we talk about what it is to own not own a club but run a club, and kind of some of the interesting parts about that, maybe some of the parts that suck.
It's definitely a lot of work. What I've been noticing is in the area that I am in, we have a few people that's like about that life, but then we got a lot of flaky people. So I'm just trying to make sure to keep it going even through all the flakiness, because for some reason like it's so like small townish where I live in like Colorado Springs versus even Denver, which I feel like is a small city compared to like Los Angeles or something. So it's like even smaller where I live. So a lot of times people be really scary. So I just want to show them like, hey, this is something we can do. We can have fun. We can go out, different days and just go shoot. Like I've been taking my guys and we've been going to a range in Rama. It's like an hour away from here, and it just allows us to move around and yeah, just get that training in.
No, that's awesome. Definitely got to be able to kind of take your training to the next level, moving and shooting, and interacting with cover and things like that. You can't really get that at a static range unless it's set up a certain way. But even still, kind of interacting with the elements, and going to the range after a rainy day and realizing there's a bunch of mud and having to work through that. As much as it
For,
sucks, it can be
for
good.
us, it snows out here. I've been to the range. There's a range called Dragon Man. He's like the most armed guy in America. He has all the guns, bro. But I've been to his range in the snow, and it's just like, man, if I had to shoot in the snow, this would suck. Like I'm,
You better hope you never have to, like
yeah,
snow
for real.
or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Weather, man.
But man, I definitely get that. Um, so I know you said you're a NAGA chapter president. You and your wife work together on that. What's that partnership look like?
Well, I mean, it's been mostly just me. I'm gonna be honest, but
She gonna get you, bro.
yeah. She definitely gonna get on me, but she's been there like name, and then also like lately she's been stepping up a lot just because I've been doing a lot of other stuff like doing the ISI or
Hmm.
going to these different shoots. So it's like sometimes it's hard to focus on it, and then I work a 9 to 5. Like my goal is definitely to work for myself, you know,
Hmm.
at the end of the road. But right now, yeah, I definitely work for someone.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I know earlier, just to touch on this real quick, I know earlier you talked about you kind of being into art and hip hop and whatnot. You're obviously
Yep.
creative. If somebody looks up your Instagram page, shout out to your Instagram page, they'll see that you're into a couple different things. Like, what exactly do you do outside of I like guns and I like, working in guns?
So I kind of forget that I'm an artist first, bro. Like my bachelor's is in studio art, graphic design, and I'm gonna be honest. Like 10 years ago, like before I was in the military, I worked in video games. So that was my goal to work in video games, to design video games, to model them, to create video games and stuff. And I kind of forgot about that because I went to the army. So I went from literally like I didn't really design them. I tested video games. So I was a video game tester, and I went from like testing Call of Duty, to like living Call of Duty basically. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
No, that's nuts, and it's funny that you say that, man. Because first of all, I don't know if I mentioned this, but thank you for your service.
Oh
Definitely
man.
appreciate all the guys out there who are working hard and putting their bodies on the line for us.
Dude, it's a blessing. Like a lot of times, yeah, it's a lot of nonsense that you deal with, especially when you enlisted, because it's hard to say it, but it's kind of like you're at the lowest rank, so you got to just like somebody tell you something, you got to go do it.
Hmm.
But it's a blessing, man. All the stuff it allows you to do, from like buying a house to like little things that veterans get access to. I definitely try to take advantage as much as possible, and then just be an advocate for other veterans and just let them know, you got people that look like you who trying to, do some big stuff. Like I remember meeting. This is kind of off topic, but I met Kobe when I was like 15 or
Oh
16.
wow.
Yeah, I met him at the Fox Hills Mall, and it was literally he was at this shoe store called Chic, and he just walks in, and they kick everybody out. But for some reason, me and my mom stayed there, and literally, like the main thing I remember, and my mom's like, "Yeah, he said all this stuff." I don't really remember all that. The main thing I remember is he told me to dream big. So even though I'm getting older, whatever, I still every day I dream big, and I'm not like giving up on myself. I know a lot of guys who like, man, I can't do music no more because I got kids. I'm like, hey, bro, I got 4 kids. I still try to do at least a beat a day. App, even if no one listens to it, it's still my release. So it's fun, bro. It's just I like to create, and then like my main thing was drawing, like comic books and stuff. But I broke my hand, so I got like a steel rod through my drawing wrist. So
Oh man.
still do it. It's just it sucks sometimes, man. But yeah, and that was time like my time in the service. So now I'm just trying to get back at it. Like lately, the last few months, I've been learning 3D again because I did it. I have a 3D portfolio from over 10 years ago. Like I used to like really be trying to seriously like work in video games, but I kind of forgot about it, man. So I'm like catching it again, and then I'm seeing all these NFTs. So I'm like, okay, say less. I'm gonna figure out how to get in this space too. So
Yeah, man, that NFT space is bumping. I have to be the first to admit I don't know quite enough about it. I know Puologist and Miss Hero, the homies, they're kind of more heavy into it, and I think obviously,
yeah,
if
shout out
if
to them. They need to collab with me because I'm really about this art stuff. So
yeah, man, I definitely I want to see us dominating in every space, as in just going out there and taking advantage of what's available. I feel like it just, from the black community perspective, once again, I think sometimes we see stuff happening and we're just like, that's a scam, or that's not for us. I'm busy with what I have going on, and I'm guilty of that. I'm busy with what I got going on. I don't have time for that extra stuff. But honestly, at the end of the day, millionaires do a thing and they're successful because of what they do. And if you refuse to do those things, how dare you think you'll be successful?
Yeah, and they try. One thing, a lot of times people give up so easy. I'm even guilty of it. Like quitting sports or like stuff like that. Like you can't. You gotta just follow through, even if it sucks. You'll
Mm-hmm.
learn something from it.
Definitely, definitely. And so, I mean, that Kobe story definitely, that's freaking awesome, dude. I'm
Dude,
glad
I
you got
still
a
got the
chance to meet
ball.
him.
He signed a ball for me.
He
I mean,
signed a ball for you, man.
it's faded now, but you could still see the signature, the like remnants of it.
Yeah.
It's more in my spirit. And then also another guy who signed it was Darius Miles, because I saw Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. They used to play for the Clippers the same day. I was like walking
Wow.
through. I was like, man, I just saw Kobe. They was like, whatever, and I was like, sign this, and they signed it. So it was a crazy day, bro. Like I definitely growing up out in LA, I've seen a lot of stuff, experienced a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely used to want to be more off topic, but I used to really want to be an actor. Like I remember when I was like 13 or 14, I was in Big Mama's house. I was an
Really?
extra. Yeah. I was in the background, bro. I
Wow.
was. There's like a scene where they're playing basketball, and like in the back, there's kids like roller skating and rollerblading in the on like a tennis court, and I was one of those kids. You could kind
Wow.
of see, yeah, it was kind of crazy. So that kind of made me want to be like an actor. So I used to definitely want that type of life. I never really got too deep into it, just like commercial stuff. I did
Hmm.
like camera work and grip stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like leave LA, it's like you're done, bro. Like yeah, so it's like yeah, if it's like starting over. And I also thought about like being a gun wrangler, a gun handler, but then I saw that Alec Baldwin stuff, and I was like, I'm good, bro. But yeah, I was thinking about that. Go be like a brother that do that on different movie sets. Make sure people know how to hold the gun right.
Well, but here is the important thing with that, and then I'm gonna touch on something special.
Yeah,
Is obviously something happened that was incorrect and it wasn't done correctly. And if you go in there with your knowledge and your understanding, and you actually take the safety seriously, and you actually take what you're doing very seriously, you probably won't have mistakes. And you know, I'm not going to say that it's not entirely possible that something can happen, but I think we know that if you do it right, things are going to go the way they should go. Um,
yeah.
and that representation is important. Like, no matter what you do, I think that's the right representation is important. So one thing that I did want to touch on is, I know you talked about being an extra in Big Mama's house. My grandma, she was actually an extra in um, Piece of the Action and Let's Do It Again, old Bill Cosby slash Sidney Poitier movies. Rest in peace, Sidney Poitier just died, passed away recently. A legend in the film industry, for those who don't know. Um, and she was actually an extra in some of the scenes that they had in a few of his movies. She's from LA as well, and that's just a big thing that she loved to do.
Well, acting is dope, man. Like I remember after doing Big Mama House, we did me and my mom, because my mom used to be like my road dog. She would take me to auditions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We did Spider-Man, like the OG Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Like there's a scene where he's like fighting wrestling and stuff at the beginning of the movie. We were in a crowd somewhere. I've never seen myself. And then I remember you ever seen Finding Forrester?
I don't know. I can't
It's
remember.
like an old movie. I think it got Sean Connery. He's like a writer, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like a black kid who's like a basketball player who's a writer. But yeah, I auditioned for that. I still remember that audition really vividly. And then just little stuff. I was in a Cuba Gooding Jr. movie one time. I
Oh
was in
yeah.
this. Yeah. It was like a chess movie. I was an extra just playing chess.
Oh
So
shoot.
that's cool.
What was that movie?
It's like King something. I don't know.
Oh
Life of
man.
King, something like that.
Because I remember that movie. I just
Yeah.
it's escaping me.
Yep.
Um,
think it's Life of King, and it's crazy because the guy name is like Eugene Brown, and my dad's name is Ira Eugene Brown. So I was like, damn, did they copy my dad? Because my dad does play chess, like
Did he
he's like
really? Does he really?
heavy into it, bro.
So talking about fathers, dads are so important, obviously, especially when you consider the history of the black community, just kind of lacking fathers in the last several decades, I would say, in the kind of the tragedy of us, kind of the war on drugs and Vietnam and things like that. And let's talk about you being a father and raising up this next generation of not only just gun owners, but of people in America,
Be honest,
citizens.
they don't really shoot that often. I've taken them to the range a few times, but yeah, they're still not. They respect it, but they're just not. They're not there. I see little kids that's like they're about that life. They're not there yet.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a blessing, man. My oldest is a girl. Her name's Cairo, and then I got three boys after that. And yeah, it's just it's always something, man. It's definitely always something. But I feel like having family and having kids definitely humbled me and made me go harder. And
Yeah.
then it's also like even if anything is like going on with me and my wife, it's like, man, like it's not worth it. Like, like just stay blessed, like having a family is a blessing versus, sometimes what can happen, like you were saying earlier with the fathers not being there. Because literally, I remember when my parents separated, it was like 15 or 16 or so, whatever. And that definitely affected me because I was the oldest.
Hmm.
Probably affected my younger siblings because I'm the oldest of five. So I just can't even imagine
Yeah.
how they, so
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm the second oldest of five, so I understand that big family lifestyle.
Yep.
And no, like when stuff happens with your family, like you feel some sort of sense of ownership and responsibility. And maybe if you don't necessarily feel like you did it, maybe you feel like, dang, what can I do? How can I be part of the solution? When literally you can do nothing. You're a kid. You need to shut up and do your schoolwork and, you
Exactly.
know, love your younger siblings or whatever that needs to happen. But that's definitely a traumatic experience. And obviously, like people are going to do what they feel like they need to do, and you can't really change that. But definitely just being there for your kids as much and as often as possible, and just kind of showing them the love that maybe you feel like you missed out on for one reason or another. I think is huge. And just being a newer dad myself, I have younger kids. Um, that's a that's not a burden necessarily, but it's a huge responsibility that I personally gladly accept, and I think it's made me a better person, as you had mentioned before. So it's I
I
commend you
definitely
for
have
being
a lot of
there.
friends that aren't, fathers or family guys, but definitely like one of my oldest friends, Paul. He's just a family guy. Like I feel like I'm more connected with those kind of type of guys because it's just like I get you, bro. I understand.
No, I
I
get
know,
that. Yeah.
nice, So yeah, you about to be in for it, bro.
Yep, baby number two's on the way,
Yeah, man.
and
Congrats.
thank
Real
you,
blessing.
dude. Thank you, dude. It's a blessing, and just
A lot
kind
of
of
times people want to make it seem like it's bad, like, oh man, you having another kid, or like they want to put
right,
all their insecurities on you. It's like, bro, like
right.
it's not me. I'm gonna do me. Just watch.
Yeah,
Just
no,
watch.
it is interesting that for the most part people have been um, really good about it and just being like, "Hey, man, congratulations, dude." But honestly, like a lot of you see this a lot, especially just in passing. People are like, "Oh man, good luck," or "Oh, dude, two kids. Oh man." It's like, bro, like, give me some encouragement and tell me to go kill it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just give me a pound, or just say blessings or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely felt that before, and it's stigma. It's like oh man, why you guys having all these kids? But it's like why not? Like too many kids are being aborted. Too many kids that don't even make it. Like I
Hmm.
remember kids that didn't even make it to like 20 and stuff. It's like one of
Yeah.
my best friends from college, bro. Like his name was Terrell, and he it was like I think it was and this is another thing, gun violence. I think it was our first winter break, and bro went down to LA. He was from LA too.
Hmm.
Got two females pregnant. Did not know that, but got two females pregnant and died that week. Like got shot in gun violence, and has two daughters. One of them is my goddaughter. So it's like it was crazy, bro. Like Like that was 18. I'm like, oh my god. I was supposed to meet up with him too. Like I was supposed to go to that party, but I just couldn't.
Wow,
So
you never know how things work out,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
But it's
don't
still
work out. It sucks for
like,
him.
yeah, it's like damn, man. Like, but I think something in his spirit knew. Like that's why he impregnated two women at the same time. But that's still crazy, man. Like, come on, like, dude,
My
like
guy,
the legend,
what?
low key. Like, how did you do that, man? Yeah,
I'm
now one of his
dying over here. Like what? How?
how like
I
I
mean, we all know how, but like how?
how like you had that much foresight, but maybe not. Who knows, man? But yeah, it's just like seeing like that type of violence because he died from gun violence. And
Yeah,
what's crazy is his dad was like an advocate in the neighborhood. He was like an advocate in Compton and Watts and all this stuff. Like he worked in the '90s to like do peace treaties between the Bloods and the Crips. So it's kind of crazy that this guy's son passed or died from gun violence when
yeah.
all his whole mission was to do stuff for the community. So yeah, it was kind of sad, bro.
That actually makes it even more tragic, and I'm so sorry to hear that.
I mean,
Just as
that's
a
just
father, to think about losing your child to something that you work so hard to help against.
yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's horrible. Well, geez, where do we go from here, man? What's next for you, bro? Like, what are you planning on doing? What does this year
So
look like? What's 2022
more
look like?
content. So I definitely like last year I shot. You ever seen the Smith and Wesson 10 mil?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen that. I
Yeah,
heard the
so they
trigger on it's pretty sweet.
got a new 10 mil and I shot that and I did a video and it like started blowing up and I was like, oh man, I gotta start doing my YouTube because I've been having a YouTube channel for like 8 years, something crazy, and it's just been stuck at like 200 people or 300 people. So like that's my goal is to make more content, just
Hmm.
be out there more, bro. Hopefully get more opportunities to do stuff like this. Like I am super appreciative. Like this is awesome, bro, to be able to talk to you
Yeah,
because
dude.
like stuff that you're doing in the community is dope. I know you're doing stuff with Body by O. I know you're doing stuff with all these other legends. So it's like, man, I'm definitely trying to tap in.
Yeah, bro. No, I'm honored to be able to talk to just interesting people who are out here doing stuff. And, I think, just like Body Bell and, My Sister's Keeper and Larry Sharp and all these different people who have like big names, quote unquote, like we're all out here trying to make a difference and be better. And, just because someone has a little bit more recognition because they kind of popped off a little bit, that don't matter. I'm trying to talk to people who are out here doing stuff and making a
Matters
difference.
though. Tig, it got a big ass picture of her face at US
She
USC.
she is on the big old banner at USCCA, killing
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
making us all look like wow, like
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. She's like,
representation that we've been asking for is here. Like I don't want to hear nothing about representation again.
I
Um,
appreciate her because
no, she's
even
killing
though
it.
she has such a great following,
Yeah.
she's so humble, but also like she opens the opportunity. Like she was the first person who put my gun club or my business on a website where it was like, okay, in Colorado, go mess with him. So her national directory, it opened a
Right.
lot of doors, bro. Like, and then just the visibility. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't even been able to go to Surviving Man if I didn't, do the stuff I did. So like I'm just appreciative of every day, man.
Yeah,
For real.
definitely. Yeah. Shout out to Tig, My Sister's Keeper Defense. Her interview was amazing. Once y'all get done with this one, if you already haven't heard it, go ahead and check it out. But before you do that, check out my homie over here. Check out Tarikh and his Instagram, his YouTube, all that. Can you let us know where to find you, bro?
Yes. So on Twitter, you could just find me at Tariq Mizan. That's Tarikh. That's Tariq and then Mizan. I was actually named after a African general, like a Moorish general or something, like one of those guys who went up in Europe, wrecking shop. But but yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Tariq Mizan. You can find me on YouTube at Hypebeast Dad, and then on Instagram, which is my main one. That's just official Tariq. So.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'll go ahead and try to link everything down below. And of course, you can DM us if you need any additional links, if you want to support, find ways to. Are your DMs open? Can people reach you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hit me up. If you're trying to do classes, if you're trying to collaborate, I'm here. my goal for 2022, like you were saying, like what you plan, it's just to take it to the next level, bro. Like do more classes, do bigger classes. I'm trying to get in this light fighter class, but it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
But
with Akil. Yeah, he's dope.
yeah. Did you go to that?
No, I haven't been yet, but once I get my knee rehabbed, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
there.
yeah. He trained. He did a session at Iron Sharpen
Uh
Iron,
huh.
and he really impressed upon me. And I was
Hmm.
just like, man, you're really dope, bro.
Yeah,
So
he's the real deal. There's very few people I would go out of my way to take their class, just because I see so many instructors. I'm no
you
longer
got to take.
impressed.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. I think his name was Brian. It was this one guy who was teaching us like competition stuff. Let me see if I can find it.
You know, I'm
You
talking
got
about
to.
Trey
Is it Trey? I'm not sure.
at
Um,
ISI.
yeah, he was at ISI. Dang, I can't think of it. But yeah, there was this one brother who was there, and he was like, he was amazing, bro. Like I was like, man, like
Yeah, you're
it,
probably talking about Trey.
it
Trey from
was this
Barber. Trey
little
Barber.
brother. He had what did he have? He had a Forerunner. So him and his
Hmm.
homies had got
Yeah, Trey
Forerunners.
Barber. Hmm.
Yeah, Barber. Yep,
Yep.
that's him.
Yep.
That
Trey
dude,
Barber. He's actually been on the show. He's amazing. I think he's
he is
super dope.
amazing. Like
North
he
Carolina.
I think he might maybe even Florida. I'm not sure, but yeah, but I met him in North Carolina, and I was just like, I was really impressed by him. Like I was like, man, dude, like you're so humble, but like such a good instructor. Like we only had limited time, but I felt like I learned. The other guys I learned a lot from, but I felt like I had the most fun on his session.
That's
So
what's
it
up,
was dope.
man. That's what's up. Well, I'm glad to hear that that you had a great time at ISI, and I hope everybody can kind of take a peek at what you're doing. And here's to 2022, man. And you've just taken off and doing everything you're supposed to do, bro.
Yes, sir. You guys will see me up at Shot Show. I'll get a lot of footage. Definitely check my YouTube. Help me grow. If you guys aren't subscribed, help me grow. Let's get to 1,000. Let's monetize this.
Absolutely, bro. 1,000's the goal for all the people who want
That's
to know.
definitely
1,000 hours. Sorry, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch
that.
time. That's a big deal for all the people on YouTube, especially people who are putting out quality content. Go support
And it's
them.
funny because a lot of times we're so hard headed or just like we don't want to support each other, and it's so simple. All you got to do is just hit subscribe, or like
It's not hard.
it's not hard at all. But a lot of times we see somebody else and we're like, oh man, forget him.
Mhm.
I don't mess with him. He trying to live or whatever. It's like, bro, like let's just all support each other because there's more than enough. Like I feel like
Mhm.
a lot of times we live in this world in like a lack mind state, but
Mhm.
this world is plentiful. Like it's more than enough for everybody. We just gotta be a little strategic about it.
Absolutely, man. And here's to collaborations in 2022. Collaboration over competition, as old Tig would say. And man, everybody who's watching, listening, wherever you are, keep it costly.